In case you are dreaming of escaping the cubicle and setting up that B&B or custom motorcycle shop in Florida, there's some bad news from the National Federation of Independent Business. Small business optimism just hit an 11-year low, the lowest since back when Obama was failing to recover the economy from the 2008 crisis. And the reason is simple: inflation, followed by labor quality, finding skilled workers. So even as Washington takes victory laps for the inflation they pretended to end, the rest of America can see ongoing inflation, from their grocery bills to the gas pump to small businesses now struggling to get by. So every month, the Federation surveys between 500 and 2,000 small businesses, asking them about business conditions. In the latest survey for March, optimism fell to the lowest reading since December of 2012. Moreover, that makes 27 consecutive months that the index has been below the 50-year average. That's over 2 years, which is odd considering Biden has allegedly been delivering stellar numbers, almost unbelievably good numbers, on both jobs and growth. Digging in, the biggest concern for small business was inflation, so rising input costs from rent to utilities to property tax and wages. Rent in particular is exploding, with small businesses expecting an average 9% increase in their rent this year. Second biggest is labor, where small businesses are paying more, but an increasing number cannot find qualified workers. So 2 out of 3 small businesses couldn't find enough decent workers. 1 out of 5 reported finding literally 0 qualified workers for open positions, because presumably those workers are relaxing on the couch collecting benefits, which have soared since COVID because votes don't buy themselves. Incidentally, the survey also asked small businesses what they think will happen to overall inflation in the next year, and the median response was between 4.5% and 5% inflation. Given small business is part of that inflation, they're the ones who have to translate inputs into outputs, that might be worth penciling in. In fact, 2 out of 3 small businesses are already raising prices, which is apparently hitting sales, with most small businesses reporting lower sales despite higher prices. Note that consumer spending is officially up nearly 5% on the year, so either small business is uniquely bad at selling stuff, or government statistics are lying or adjusted. So beyond inflation and falling sales, owners reported slowing their hiring plans, turning in the lowest hiring plans since the depths of the pandemic. More concerning, on net, they're running down inventory, which doesn't really match an allegedly freewheeling consumer. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. There's not much in the way of relief. With inflation marching up straight line for 6 months now, input prices will keep going, so their costs will keep going up. While that same inflation is canceling interest rate cuts for the foreseeable future, meaning it will remain hard and it will remain expensive for small companies to borrow. As for finding workers, government benefits soared 30% or $800 billion a year since the pandemic, and will continue to lure workers out of the workforce as Democrats buy votes for November. In theory, the unfilled jobs would eventually drive up wages, so supply and demand, and lure some of those workers back on the job. In practice, with millions of illegals pouring in, many of those jobs, certainly the low-skill ones, won't actually go to Americans. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.